Well, guess what? The Asman's back in town after a nice little well-earned break. 2 runners in the first race, starting off with LADUREE, who didn't have a bad debut, and then Ready, Set, Go with Craig Zaki and Dennis Schwartz aboard.
Yes, Andrew, LADUREE, nice filly, shown us some decent work back home. Her first run was a decent run. The second run, very disappointing. We were disappointed with that run. So we gave her a break and let her come back slowly. We're expecting a decent run from her, probably in need of the run, but we're hoping that she'll run into the money.
What about Ready, Set, Go?
Yeah, Ready, Set, Go was ridden by Hannah the first time in that work riders race. She ran a decent sort of race with her up. She's a type of filly that could be in the back end of the placings.
Lovely. Then on to the second, where you've got SILKEN PRINCE and Dennis Schwartz again.
Yeah, SILKEN PRINCE also, he's running from a deep draw, as is that filly Ready, Set, Glow. If the draw doesn't get to him, he's a horse that could just about win a race like that, probably have to beat Joe Somers' horse.
Just the 4 runners on Saturday, starting off in the second of the afternoon with NUNTIUS ORATORION, come back from a gelding, and a decent performance when re-emerging.
Yeah, it was a nice run, and he, I won't say I was unlucky, but he did get it a little bit cut off. Might have finished closer still. You know, if you're going to take cognizance of the second run after a layoff syndrome, that's not good. It's 2 weeks, but you know, he seems to have taken it very well, the run, and he's bright and his work has been good. So, you know, I imagine another forward run at least from him.
Was his return above expectations, or was it more or less what he'd been showing in his work?
Yeah, he'd always shown that, but as a colt, he was becoming a little bit unplayable to the point where his last start was also on the inside track, but it wasn't about the track; it was about his just his behaviour. It was shocking. So we gelded him, put him away, and brought him back, and we'd been seeing good work, and you know, we did expect a forward run from him, and he gave us that.
Okay, then you've got ARCTICA and a full mast. The one is exceptionally talented and the other one is exceptionally consistent, but you must be happy with your hand in that race.
Yes, Andrew, ARCTICA really does well for Pierre. I think that's why Adam has opted to keep him on that horse. Obviously, Pierre would have preferred to have been on full mast, but I think Adam might have opted to keep Pierre on ARCTICA because he does his best for Pierre. And we've got Craig Zaki on full mast. Also must have an undeniable chance in the race, but not by any means thinking that that's a foregone conclusion with either of them, because we've got that horse Africa Rising with Luke Ferraris claiming, and there are a number of other horses in the race, obviously, that would come into the race with a chance, but we are quite happy with our horses' chances in that race.
Mr. What You See Is What You Get appears. His name, of course, KILLUA Castle.
Well, you know, favourite track. Look, we've got him entered for the Grand Heritage because he's got no distance. He doesn't mind. If you put him in a 1400, he'll run well. Put him in a 2000, he'll run well. To say he's experienced is probably an understatement. He's only on his 70-something run, but I think he'll probably run well again. He's very bright. We just gave him a little canter this morning, you know, just prior to the race, and he's very fresh and well. I think he'll probably likely run another good race.
Super. Then you move another 2 races down the line to a filly that's got plenty of talent, and her name is SCHIPPERS.
Yeah, she's had a layoff. You know, partly enforced because there was absolutely nothing to run her in. Her rating's quite high, and there were just no you know, suitable races for her. And she says she's had a vaccine program. She's you know, I'd say she's come well. She's done a couple of grass gallops here, done them well. She's obviously talented, but of course she's not a filly that can draw either. So I think she jumps from a very outside stall, so not easy. 1200 on the inside track. Having said that, we'll just drop her in, have her finishing, and if she turns it on, look, I wouldn't be surprised if she could get up in the first 3 because she's classy, she's talented, and she's not Amford.
Okay, and then on to a horse that Pierre has done well on before, and he ran a very nice race last time out in Angel's Power, who's in race 7, accompanied by Mrs. O, who ran a very good race last time out, and then, of course, Splendid Garden, who has shown that he is more than versatile.
Yeah, Andrew, I think we've got a decent hand in that race as well. Angel's Power obviously runs his best races for Pierre. He's really done very, very well with Pierre. also starting from a very deep draw. So Pierre's going to have to tuck him away early on and then hope that he runs on stoutly for him in the end of the race. Mrs. O's in very, very good form. I saw her working this morning, and I said to Adam, out of all of the runners running on Saturday, she's possibly the one that put up the best work on the track. But, you know, some days they work well on the track, and you've got to hope that they take that type of work to the course. But she did work well this morning. Muzi riding her, and she's favourably drawn. We've got Carl Zechner on Splendid Garden. He's very, very well drawn. Lyle Jurtsen rode him at this track and distance, and he won at this track and distance, coming from a hopeless position from a bad draw when he won. So now he's well drawn. He's going to be there for nothing, be able to place him decently. And if he rides a patient sort of race on him, he could come into the race with a big chance.
What were your expectations of MUJALLAD when he started racing, and what are your expectations now that he's been gelded?
Andy's always been a horse who's shown us a lot of ability. He's won 3 races, but still, in my opinion, underachieved. He's a nice horse. Definitely a much better horse as a gelding. Moves a lot better, seems a lot happier, and a lot less cultist, which was one of his problems. I'm expecting a good run. He obviously will need the run, first run after a gelding. But I think he's a horse that people can hopefully follow throughout the season.
You never ever send your horses to the track without having had a lot of work. On a scale of 1 to 10, where is any preparation, and what sort of mission do you have in mind for him?
It's probably about a 7 out of 10. Races like the Spring Challenge jump to mind early. I don't think he quite sees out a mile, so anything from, you know, sprinting to 1400 coming up in the season are probably going to be his goals.
Okay, then another horse that falls into the same category of having been absent from the track is the Rising Legend.
Also done a couple of very nice grass gallops. 1800, you know, on his return is probably as far as you want to go, but I'm happy with him. He's done his work at home. He looks very fit. Coat's good. You know, he's got issues at the gate, so I just hope that goes well. But if it goes right, I mean, he can be in the firing line. He's classy. He's on the upgrade, and I'd like to think that you know, he could get in amongst them and possibly win it.
Okay, has he got a plan? Has he got a mission this season?
Oh, well, I think everybody's mission this time of the year is probably the Summer Cup. Everybody just says Summer Cup. It's a handicap for 2 million rand, so why wouldn't you go for it? But yeah, it's just to bring him along, and you know, he's only just turned 4. I think he's got a couple of very, very good years of racing in him.